But, the first thing that I know we wanted to hit was some more transfer portal news. And it wasn't even necessarily with someone that Ohio State has added or someone that Ohio State has lost to the portal. It's actually someone who is now reportedly linked to Ohio State, or at least is one of the favorites to land him. And that is Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. He has reportedly entered the transfer portal after he went ahead and originally declared for the draft. Now he's declared for the transfer portal. It's kind of a strange situation. And it's very strange that he decided to declare and then not declare, end up going to the transfer portal. Now, he could probably make more money staying in college this year because he was probably going to be a third-day pick, maybe fourth, fifth round pick with how he played this year. But I'm not entirely sure why Ohio State would be on the list of teams, but according to On3's Pete Nakos, he is considering, or at least Ohio State should be considered one of the favorites. It's them, Miami, and Texas Tech. Miami seems like the clear favorite right now, which, in my opinion, is much better. I don't know if I would want Carson Beck to come to Columbus. I understand he would have more experience than any quarterback that Ohio State has on the roster for next season, because they would have Julian Sayin and Tavian St. Clair and Lincoln Keenan-Holtz as the only scholarship quarterbacks next season, with Howard going to the NFL and Devin Brown and Aaron Nolan in the transfer portal. Nolan's already enrolled in South Carolina, so he's not coming back. And Brown hasn't officially declared anywhere yet, but, we'll see where he ends up. So adding Beck would give them some experience, in the Ohio State quarterback room, but based on how he's played this year, I wouldn't be that excited. He had just under 3,500 passing yards. He had 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And he looked bad in a lot of the big games they were playing, especially in the two games against Texas. So it's
hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
Hey, Garrison. I cannot hear you yet. So I know you've been having some technical issues. So we'll we'll let you get that figured out here before you come back. But as far as Beck is concerned, it's a funny story because he actually played better last year with a different offensive coordinator. He had fewer interceptions. His passing yards were much higher. He had almost 4,000 passing yards last year under Mike Bobo. And adding him to this Ohio State offense next year, which he would be surrounded by some really good wide receivers still. His wide receivers at Georgia's are the worst collection of wide receivers, quite frankly, in the Power Four. They lead the P4 in drops. And we saw that in their game against Notre Dame. I mean, they had some big time drops in that game, and it kind of cost them later on. Their offense couldn't get any traction because Beck didn't trust his receivers. So perhaps that could be part of the reason why he was so bad this year. He didn't really trust his receivers, so he couldn't really sling it, as much as he would like to, because he didn't think his guys could come down with it. And if he came to Ohio State, that wouldn't be a problem. He would have Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and Brendan Ennis to throw to. Those are three pretty darn good options. Mylan Graham would also be a fourth guy. They've got guys all over the place. So that would be the positive way of looking at it, is if they did decide to grab Beck, they could have a guy who has played for national championship, who's, won a national championship, and someone who could give the Buckeyes more of a bridge quarterback, because obviously next year would be his final year of eligibility. It would give Sayin and Tavian St. Clair a chance to learn a little bit more about the offense, feel a little bit more comfortable before they would go out there. And let's face it, neither one of them, Sayin has minimal reps. The one throw we've seen him, the one pass we've seen him throw in recent games was that kind of wounded duck against Tennessee, which didn't inspire a whole lot of confidence. But again, it was cold. The game was out of hand. It didn't really matter. In my opinion, the Buckeyes would be better served keeping their quarterback room with Sayin and St. Clair as the two guys fighting for the starting job. if they want to bring in a veteran, kind of like they did a few years back, but with chugging off from West Virginia with and also with Christian Gebbia from Oregon State as kind of a veteran backup, kind of break in case of emergency, break glass case of emergency quarterback, that's fine. But I don't think Beck is going to be a guy that Ohio State should really pursue. Sounds like Miami's, really into taking him after Cam Ward, so hopefully it'll be out of Ohio State's hands.